I've got so much I want to ask you, but I'll try and be structured about it. But first of all, could you just introduce yourself and tell us about the film that we're going to be talking about today?
Uh, Hi, I'm Onir, filmmaker, producer, writer from India, and We Are Faheem Karun is a sequel to my 2011 film called I Am, and it's a film which talks about, in a way, identity, but it's identity with various layers. It's probably one of the first ever queer love stories set in Kashmir. Uh, in Kashmiri language with a lot of local actors. So I feel for me it's a very, very special film because in a way it is also situated and comes from a space where queerness is almost invisible. Unless you are, I mean, it's kind of ironical because, being trans, you are very often most targeted, but at the same time, you have visibility, whereas the other spectrum remains invisible in a space where uh, you're not accepted.
Yeah, I mean that's a really the notion of visibility versus invisibility is sort of, I guess, the central tension, even though obviously it's a forbidden love story. So how did you, I mean, the visibility and the sort of coming out visually of the two characters, it got me in literally the first sort of, couple of seconds of that interaction, and it was the smiles and it was the eyes, and I'd love to hear a bit more about how you made them visible.
I feel that, like having spent most of our life in a country where we're criminalized by law, you know, you kind of recognize, and you learn how to uh, find each other, seek each other, even without, saying it. A lot of, some people sometimes told me that, oh, how can you ever have a Kashmiri local fall in love with someone who is perceived as the quote unquote other, the enemy, in a way. And for me, I always feel, and it's also from real life experiences of people I know, so it's not all fiction.
Right.
And I always feel that, when you're othered,
Yeah.
anyway, be it because
Yeah.
of the professional space you have or because of religion or any other thing, then you seek out those spaces where you know that you can find, you won't be judged and you'll be
Yeah.
loved, and you find seek that. And I think that's what my characters, Fahim and Karun, both of them, that's how they seek each other and find each other.
Yeah. I mean, it was such a juxtaposition though from the checkpoint, and just but it was the facial expressions of both of them that just cut the tension. And then obviously, like, talk to me about the role of the apple. It played a really pivotal role, I
Yeah.
think, in the
I think,
storytelling.
honestly, the idea of the apple came from my co-writer Fauzia Mirza, uh, and she was like, let's play around with the idea of the apple, the symbol of apple.
Yeah,
And also here it is like, the first time he gives it, there is also this whole thing of, there's a sense of, one wants to bond, but there is also fear, there is
yes,
mistrust. And, both of us thought it would be so lovely that it's actually just giving an apple, and yet there is resistance, and how he bites it to show that this nothing is going to happen to you. And,
yeah,
it kind of breaks the ice,
yeah,
And for
absolutely.
me, it was important that Fahim does it. That
Yeah,
was very conscious because, you would always think that no, you know he's not, I mean, traditionally he wouldn't be the one doing it,
yeah,
because of also how power is perceived. And so what also this film does for me is try to dismantle the image of the enemy, you
yes,
know
yes,
because I think as a society world over, we nurture too much the idea of the other, the idea of the enemy, instead of seeking what is us. And
Yeah.
for me, it was very important to do that.
And do you think, because obviously in the end, like obviously because of the loss, and you understand why Fahim made the decision that he made and why he felt, but was that him going backwards? You know?
For me, not really. It is reacting to a loss,
Yeah.
immediately. And there's a huge amount of grief attached to it,
Yeah.
and also understanding that sometimes each one of us come with so much baggage that you can't overnight, just throw it away. You keep
Yeah.
trying, and society is constantly pushing you. At the same time, for me, the hope in this film, because, if you notice, it says chapter one,
Yeah. I
okay?
did.
And if hope is, it's the mother who picks
Yes.
up the ring that Karun had left back,
Yeah.
and puts it in her son's fingers, puts it
Yeah.
on her son's finger. And when he goes to the window, for me, it was very important that we see that he has Karun's ring. He, if it was rejection, he would not be wearing that ring,
Yeah. Okay.
And then
Okay.
for me, that is hope, you
Yeah,
know.
that's how. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's because when I at the end I was like no, and then I was like no, but it's chapter one, so something will come. But yeah, the symbol of the ring. You're right. So talk to me about the sort of visual approach to the storytelling, because Kashmir. To me, when I started watching it, it felt really calm in a beautiful way, and I don't know what I expected Kashmiri border to look like. I mean, I've spent a lot of time in India, but not in that part. But I was blown away. So I'd love to just hear about your visual approach.
Yeah, I've been going to Kashmir for nearly 18 years. I've learned the language. I live, whenever I go, I mostly live with locals. Most people joke that you're half Kashmiri, you know,
Right.
and uh, and I feel I belong, and I feel the pain, I feel the anguish, and I also see the I mean, now, especially after so many years of conflict, that the desire for hope to flourish,
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
go beyond the, dialogue, because the narrative of conflict and hate is also a narrative that a lot of people want to continue, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people follow that without realizing that lifetimes just, we don't seek that dialogue
Yeah.
space where we can, and for me, I chose this part of Kashmir, a place called Gurez, which is actually right next to the border,
Right.
you know, and, it's one of the few places in Kashmir where you see interaction between the army and local in a very day-to-day basis, that they're roaming around together, playing cricket together. And I love it that a lot of my, because of the current political situation in India, some of my friends from Gurez, they keep telling that, listen, I think people should realize that we decided to be a part of India,
Yeah. Yeah.
we, so don't other us, and I
Yeah.
thought it's beautiful, it's poignant, and it's beautiful. Uh, and Gurez has that, Gurez has a sense of quietness, but because it's also close to the border,
Yeah.
you know, it also has this underlying, you know,
This.
and also a history where
Yeah.
it has seen a lot of, and for me, when the mother says that this river used to be the river of blood, because
Yeah.
that's where, you know, people trying to cross over, whatever there was. So it has seen all that, So
Yeah.
there's, I mean, when the father also says, "Go away, son," because
Yeah.
this story of grandfather died, and so that is there. So
Yeah.
the calmness is also comes from a lot of anguish, a lot
Yeah.
of sorrow.
Yeah. And what cameras did you use and what techniques did you use to tell the story?
So, when I was trying to make this film, initially it was a part of an anthology like my 2011 film, I Am, and
Yeah.
this is We Are. And I had to send the story to the Ministry of Defense for approvals. And it was based on a real life story of an army man. It was inspired. I wouldn't say it was just his story. And the film got rejected
Yeah.
and banned. And of course, all the traditional sources, there was a studio attached, everyone backed out. And for
Right.
me, having spoken up for our visibility when we were criminals, this is not going to stop me. And I decided why not make it into a feature film?
Yeah.
And I've learned from Iranian cinema that when you want to tell something, you find ways to do it. So I decided, okay, I'll change the costume, make him into a security guard,
Right.
and the story gets told, you
Right.
know. And that's how I started working on it. And, I just used all my savings, life insurance to do the film because, I really, really thought that this is important. For the first time, a film, like for me, the conversation about uh, including queer people in the army started because the film was discussed in the parliament. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
whether they're bad or not, I'm glad that it started a dialogue, and
Yeah.
that is the beginning of, also understanding that how unfair it is
Yeah.
that still today we are being uh, othered, that.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
because I didn't have the budget, I had like everything so I had like an extremely small crew. We were 17 people,
Wow.
uh, including actors and all, and everyone was multitasking. And we
Right.
had Sony FX9, the cameraman, and he's like, okay, Onir, can I have a focus puller and someone who is with the video? So I said, no, I don't have the money to fly two extra people. I said, we have to do it all within. So my first AD, he also likes playing around with the camera. So we didn't have a light man, nothing. So it was a team of like, the core team were four direction, who were also helping me in production, helping lighting, arts. Everyone was doing everything.
Amazing.
So it was just done like that,
All in,
organically.
everyone all in. And how did it feel, the sort of journey to sort of, I don't know, when firstly having it discussed in Parliament, them rejecting it, and then that's a lot, and you kept going. How did you do that?
I think, I always feel that over the years, various films that I've done, especially when it comes to queer narrative, have faced all kinds of challenges. I remember even I am when uh, every traditional sources refused
Yeah.
the film, I
Yeah.
crowdfunded and crowdsourced the film,
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, I
you
saw
know.
that.
And so for me, this whole thing of you learn to navigate when there is a no, because you feel that your visibility, your stories are more important than these hurdles, and the joy when I got the national award for I Am, it was like unthinkable. And I remember Juhi Chawla calling up and said, listen, I called up Shah Rukh Khan and I told him your 150 crore film got the best national award for the best special effects, and our 1.5 crore film got the best film. So I think that's the joy that keeps one going.
Keep going.
And
Yeah.
it's the same with We Are, that come what may, it is not only just because it was banned, but also that made me also decide I will not set the film in Kashmir and do it in Urdu and cast some, known names from the Hindi film industry. I thought, no, let me introduce Kashmiri actors, let me
Yeah.
introduce Kashmiri language and
Yeah.
do it as authentic, because there's nothing to lose anymore.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And talk to me about the role of the two song. It was two songs, wasn't it? The 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 musical moments within the film.
Yeah. So, I feel that very often what happens with especially films like this, which is considered, it's very funny in India, it'll be considered as art or, but for me, I feel that, very often we all think that, okay, you have to do the language of world cinema when you're doing this, which means no song, whatever. And I feel as South Asian, for us, music,
Mm,
and songs are an essential element in everyday life, you
Okay.
know.
Yeah.
And I thought that Indian cinema, you know, I don't use it like Bollywood
Yeah.
does, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I wanted to use it because for me, the most important, I love it, of course, that it's going to screen at BFI and it's going to travel to other, but most important is that the film is accepted and seen by people back home. And
Yeah.
I know that how important, you know, the music, you know, and songs. I mean, whenever a queer person thinks of a love song, your reference points are mostly songs between a man and a woman.
Yeah. That's true.
Where
That's
are
true.
our songs? So I
Yeah.
wanted two voices. I wanted it to be duet, and one of the singers, Yawar Abdal, is a Kashmiri singer. So even that was very conscious that I
Yeah.
will have a
Yeah.
Kashmiri singer's voice there. So it is a question of, again, representation,
Yeah.
and yeah.
And the you mentioned the mother, but so much came out of her narrative and her role because she reminded you of, you know, the fact that women have got as equal of a struggle still. But just the starkness of it being one female amongst these men also I thought was really interesting. I'd love for you to just talk to me about that. Why was there no other female?
So it was very interesting because Sana, who plays the role, the other day someone else asked her the question at a screening, and she says, you know, in my most of my life, I've lived a life with my two sons, my husband, and my father-in-law, and I was the only woman in the house. So for me, this was nothing alien, you know,
Right.
this kind of a thing. But the, you know, when I started shooting the film initially, actually her uh, role was smaller, but as I was working, I just realized that, you know, and this came from actually my students because I had done a workshop with, I do filmmaking workshops with Kashmiri students. And one of it, I was, while talking to them, I realized in Kashmir, everyone keeps talking about the mother, Moj, Moj. It's like so
Yeah.
important, you know. And I was asking them, listen, let's do a short documentary. Each of you go and ask your grandmother, what have you ever asked? And none of them had ever asked their mother or grandmother about, and they love really, it's like intense love, but no one knows, you
Yeah.
know.
Interesting.
So I thought that what was there in that documentary, because we made one small documentary called Me and Moj,
Right.
I thought, let me use that whole thing that
Yeah.
I wanted Fahim because he is, you know, being queer, you also understand
Yeah.
women. I think
Yeah.
the feminist movement and the queer movement have always been
Very.
allies.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to bring. And also, I feel like when I did I Am, the story that was set in Kashmir was I Am Megha, which was
Yeah.
told from the point of view of two women, because I
Right. Yeah.
feel men love guns and conflict and, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
but women seek peace, and I've seen that. You know, of course, there's, or it's not so simplistic, but overall, I mean,
Yeah.
you look
Yeah.
for the spaces, and that's what I thought that I realized that she becomes a force which is also constantly talking about. I mean, one of the most, I love this dialogue in the film, which actually came from my driver. I remember the first time I went to Gurez, I've been nearly 6 times there before shooting. My driver said that, Sir, आपको मालूम है ये यहाँ तो ये Kishan Ganga बोलता है और उस साइड ना नीलम बोलता है. And he started laughing. And he was the one who said, इसको थोड़ा ही मालूम है नदी को. क्या
Wow.
क्या क्या किशन गंगा ये तो चल रहा है बहते जा रहा है. I thought, fuck, it's such a, so much of wisdom,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And initially, I had thought I will let Fahim tell this lines, but as I was shooting, I said, no, I think the mother needs to tell it to the son.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is this constant attempt, even with the soldiers, Karun, you
Yeah.
know, when the at the border, when they says, "Oh, itne pass,"
Yeah.
and I have been many times to Pakistan, and I always felt that the love I experienced there, I've
Yeah.
never felt anywhere. I've traveled a lot, anywhere at home as much as I felt in Pakistan, because I just thought we are one, you know. And
Wow.
that's what he says, that, you
Yeah.
know, we have. over the years lost the need to actually nurture what we wear, the oneness. There will
Yeah,
be issues. It's at home also there are issues. So it's
yeah,
okay to there will be all those problems. But the fact that there is this oneness of the
yeah,
same history, same land, same religion, same
yeah,
everything,
yeah.
and so even he who is just a security guard says,
You feel it.
granted, it's very easy to constantly populate the story. It would have been very easy to take the tropes that you usually see
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
hate. And I thought that no, even his colleagues, no one is bullying him and teasing him. They understand his quest,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Well, I'm
yeah.
like, I feel that no, let's start also showing that, because I, as an out and proud gay person, I've never found any hate in Kashmir. You know.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, I think I mean that sense of camaraderie between the army members, you could really feel that, and that was surprising to me as well, actually. And I think in the what do you hope this film achieves? I know that's a really obvious question, but
Yeah, I just, for example, for me, I really want to show the film in Kashmir, you know,
yeah,
for also, people there to want to start talking about queer rights. It's really
yeah,
important. And I
yeah,
also want the dialogue that started in the parliament to
yeah.
reach,
Keep going. Yeah,
because I see no justification,
yeah,
absolutely no justification that why we, even after being decriminalized, that we are still not equal citizens. And for me, that is not acceptable, you
yeah.
know. And that is my only hope. And I hope that the audience, because I feel that it's a very accessible film,
Yeah. No, it is.
and a lot of women have told me, on here, it doesn't matter if it's a gay story. It could be us, and for various reasons, people. And I hope that people will can watch this film beyond the queerness.
Yeah,
I'm like tired that why does it have to be constantly seen as a gay,
yeah, yeah.
it's
I agree.
a
Well, I
story.
think I think on that one of the really interesting decisions you'd made was not to have either of them necessarily struggle with their sexuality, which you often see. I mean, I'm related to people who have struggled with the fact that they're gay until they accepted it of themselves, but they really did hate themselves for a long time or try and hide it. And these two, you present them as being just really comfortable with themselves, even though not society.
Yeah.
So I think,
And oh yeah, you're absolutely right, because even when Karun asks Fahim, I don't talk about him going through, oh my God, what I was,
yeah,
should I go to the doctor, da, 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 and he just said, yeah, I just figured one
when
day
did
I
you know?
realized,
Yeah,
it's more like
yeah.
one date, because people ask me, this is also very often people, when did you come out? And I'm like, fuck, I don't remember. Sorry for my.
Oh
I
no, it's fine.
don't remember. I didn't have any coming out date.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
yeah.
the way I am.
The way you are, yeah, yeah. And just sort of finally, as a director, do you have any inspirations that where do you find your creative energy and vision?
Uh, I think it's just the need to, the joy that I get, and also because I've always made independent films, somehow I feel that uh, I like to take up, own the responsibility that sometimes I get it wrong
Yeah,
and sometimes I get it right,
yeah,
and it's okay.
yeah,
I'm not perfect, and but the joy of learning, that joy of overcoming the hurdles, the joy of just living. When I was this class 8 in Bhutan, that's where I'm born and brought up. I had this dream, and I come from like teachers. My parents were teachers, and I never thought that I would be able to live that dream. And have might be a tiny space, but I have my own identity as a filmmaker in India. And I feel like thanks to my queerness, I have that identity. So, like yesterday, someone, because this anthology that I did,
yeah,
right now it was with Kabir Khan, Imtiaz Ali, and Rima Das, and someone asked me that, Onir, you repeatedly take up queer themes. So do you think you've done enough? I said that, will you now, because next you're interviewing Imtiaz, will you ask him that you repeatedly have done straight stories? Will you now?
Have you done enough?
So why
Yeah.
am I always questioned?
Yeah.
So I feel that is what pushes me,
Yeah. Good. I
and
understand.
yeah, the joy. I'm
Yeah.
overall, despite everything, I think I'm an extremely happy person.
Yeah. You seem
Yay.
it. You seem it. What next? What's next?
So,
Finally.
this has it's four stories. Like when we started this, Fausia was writing with me. We wrote four stories because it was supposed to be a part of one film,
Yeah.
uh, to celebrate the Supreme Court verdict, because it was then COVID came. We started writing earlier, and then this ban happened, so I was facing different challenges. So now I want to do the second film, which is a trans love story, and then there's a lesbian love story, and then there's a bisexual love story,
Yeah.
and all the films are interconnected through characters. So in this, you see that the security guards are sitting and watching a video of a drag queen.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
So she becomes the
She's the next.
character in the next year. So, so all, and that's why it's chapter one. So I want to tell, I hope I get to start telling those other stories soon.
You will. You will. Well, thank you so much for your time. This was really incredible, and congratulations again. And I've seen that it's sold out already in London, and
Yes, I'm so excited about that.
yeah, me too. And I'm looking forward to writing this up. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Pleasure talking to you.